Hearing about the new Wildcards Decades release and not sure if it's for you? Join us as we rip two hobby jumbo boxes with you to see what they have to offer. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to JC3 Cards and Collectibles. Today, we have a special rip for you. We've got a couple boxes of Wild Card Decades 1 hobby jumbo boxes. That's right, not one, but two hobby boxes from Wild Card. One of my favorite non-standard non-major rips, I guess I would say. Wildcard certainly keeps growing every year, but I think generally we recognize Topps and Panini as the big guys in the market. But Wildcard makes some fantastic products. I got some of these previews in sales in the National last year in Cleveland, and I really enjoyed them. So special came out for Wildcard Insiders a week ago, and I decided to go ahead and get two of these boxes. I think they are $79.99 a piece, if I recall. But they have some really good hits in them. There are some names that are just fantastic in these. So we are going to go ahead and start to rip this first box. So the dollar box actually introduced me to Wildcard. I wasn't really wasn't a big aficionado of Wildcard. I was kind of a Topps purist when I first started selling cards, and especially as a collector. I only collected Topps cards as a collector, and it took me a while to come around and accept any other brands. And the dollar box is really who talked me into opening up my horizons and understanding that there are some other manufacturers out there that can really provide some fun products. So here we have the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individual packs. We've got the 60s. We've got another 60s, and we've got one of ones in these. We've got the 70s, the 80s, and of course, the 90s. Just you can already see from the styling of the packs that these can be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and rip into the 70s and see what we get here. Oh, they got this one pretty secure. Pretty secure. I have to, there we go. I had to get a little more force to open that up off camera there. So what do we got here? John Provost, actor. And that is a 1 of 1. Look at that. It's Timmy from Lassie, I believe. A 1 of 1 Timmy from Lassie in the 60s. Let's see here. Known in the 60s as Timmy Martin on Lassie, John Provost became a beloved child actor remembered for his role in the classic TV series. And this is, if you think about it, this is a double. It's a combo card. You have Timmy and you have Lassie. And who doesn't love Lassie? I think everybody wanted a collie when they were younger because of the show Lassie. All right, let's go to card number 2. We got our 1 of 1 from the 60s. Man, they seal these tight. Up next. Oh, I see William Shatner. What kind of card do we have of William Shatner? Let's see. Gained prominence in the 60s as Captain Kirk on Star Trek, becoming a cultural icon with his influential role in the sci-fi series and subsequent career. Look at that. Captain Kirk, 1 of 1. Got kind of a ray wave type of refractor pattern in there. That is amazing. I feel like somebody just beamed me up to the Enterprise. Look at the beauty on that one. All right, let's move on to the 70s. So we got 2 one of ones so far in the 60s. Here's the 70s. Let's see what we got here. Well, that one opened a little easier. See, things got a little easier in the 70s. Oh, I see Eric Estrada's name on this one. Eric Estrada of Chips fame, Ponch on Chips. And this one says in the 1970s, Eric Estrada gained fame as Officer Frank Poncherello on Chips, California Highway Patrol, becoming a well-known face in television law enforcement dramas. Let's take a look at the face of this one. Oh, all suited up. I was hoping he would be in the Chips uniform. Another one of one. Eric Estrada actor. You got the groovy kind of background from the 70s here. Very cool. Very cool. I watched a lot of Chips when I was younger. It was on in syndication in the younger days of my life. And I was a big fan of Ponch and John cruising through California on their Harley Davidson motorcycles. I'm trying to remember if they were. Is the Highway Patrol considered state patrol? I don't recall. I even lived out there for a few years, and I don't know the answer to that one. All right, let's move on from Eric Estrada, and we're going to move to the 80s. These are all one of ones. I neglected to mention that. All one of ones. And these are a little bit better than the previews because they have the full backs. They're the official release. The previews just had kind of a generic back on them that said preview, and I think it limited their value a little bit. These, I believe, I see Chevy Chase's name here. I'm a big Chevy Chase fan. Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation, Caddyshack, all of the greats. Chevy Chase is best known for the 1980s, known for his comedic roles in National Lampoon's Vacation and Fletch. That's right, Fletch. And as a cast member on Saturday Night Live, back in the days of Bill Murray, John Belushi, Gilda Radner. Chevy Chase, I believe, might have been one of the original Weekend Update hosts on Saturday Night Live. And of course, made famous his impersonation of clumsy Gerald Ford, President Gerald Ford. Let's take a look at this one. It's an auto. That's right. We've got an auto Chevy Chase, one of one. Chevy with the cigar there. Is that kind of a photo, a promotional photo from Fletch, maybe? I'm not sure. But that is very cool. A Chevy Chase auto, I'll have to seriously consider. Is that something for my PC? Because I do enjoy these eclectic pieces. Look at that. Nice auto, too. Nice and clear. It is a sticker auto. I'm okay with that, though. It is nice looking auto, in good condition. Like, I have no problem with that whatsoever. All right. Let's go to the 90s. Decades one, the 1990s. Oh, my biological clock just keeps ticking.
Get married. My biological clock is ticking like this, and the way this case is going, I ain't never getting married.
Again, Marissa Tomei. Some of you may know her more in the modern era as Aunt May in the Spider-Man movies. Marissa Tomei rose to fame in the 1990s with roles in My Cousin Vinny and The Perez Family, known for her Academy Award-winning performance and versatile acting career. Beautiful young lady when she hit the big screen and prominence for the first time. Still a huge following today. Look at that. Ooh. That is a nice looking card. You got the graffiti background there for the 90s. What an outstanding look on that card for the 90s. I love it. All right. That is box number 1. Are we ready for box number 2? I think we're ready for box number 2. Another Hobby Jumbo Wildcard Decades. Ultra limited checklist. 5 packs per box. 5 one-of-ones per box. And 1 auto per box. So, what do you think of box number 1? Do you think we're doing pretty good with that Chevy Chase auto? Did we get names that are going to be recognizable? I think Marissa Tomei will be a great name recognition item. Chevy Chase, I think, is fantastic. When it gets to Eric Estrada and John Provost from Lassie, I think we're starting to age out a little bit on those. William Shatner is still iconic. So I think that one will have some easy name recognition as well. So let's see what we get out of this one. There's the 90s and the 60s. Another 60s and an 80s. And I think we just need, there's another 90s. So in the first one, we had 2 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. In this one, let's see here. We've got 2 60s, 1 80s, and 2 90s. So we did not get a 70s pack in this one. So that tells you that the decades that are in each hobby box are a little bit randomized. So let's start with the 60s again. Who can we get? One of one. Will the 60s be an auto for us? I think as I think about these, my hope would be the autos would be out of the 90s more often, or the 80s to be a little more recent. So I almost flipped it over too fast. We've got Bob Eubanks, game show host. A little bit of stuff on the case on this one. Not a big deal. It is on the outside. The card is untouched, of course. But Bob Eubanks gained fame in the 1960s as a game show host, notably for the Newlywed Game, with his engaging and humorous television presence. Bob Eubanks was a fixture on TV for a long time. And there's our auto. Bob Eubanks, 1960s, one of one game show host. And it's a more modern image of Bob Eubanks, not his youthful self from The Dating Game and some of the various other shows he was on, but a very recognizable name for anyone over the age of probably, I'd say 35, which is a good demographic to be in for some of these pop culture type of items. All right, we've got another 60s pack here. Let's take a look at that. Oh, yeah, some of these they seal really tight. And of course, I try to be a little gentle when I start ripping it. I don't want things flying all over. Oh, I see another William Shatner. Looks like the same card we had. Sure is another one of William Shatner, but this one is another refractor design. So the last one, if we put them side by side, you see the first one we had was this wavy design, like a ray wave, if you will, like Topps uses. This one is more of a similar to a design that Prism uses in their fast break, I think. You got the little kind of disco balls in there. Both are very cool though. These are ones that I will definitely resell, and I think they'll do okay because William Shatner is so iconic. What are some of the other shows for William Shatner you can remember? We all know Star Trek. T.J. Hooker, was that another one? I think T.J. Hooker was another one. The 80s. What was it at some law show in Boston, like Boston Common or something like that? He was in that. You see him in commercials all the time for a law firm still today. You still see him in pop culture interviews and different shows. Oh, oh, this one. I see the name Debbie Gibson on this one. Debbie Gibson, pop icon. I think she's still doing stuff on Broadway or something like that. Debbie Gibson, singer. In the 1980s, Debbie Gibson emerged as a pop sensation with hits like Only in My Dreams and Electric Youth, defining the teen pop genre of the era. And there we go. Debbie Gibson, one of one. The fancy 80s background there. Again, we got like that fast break type little disco ball. I want to grab another card here from the promo sets and explain to you what we saw on the back of the promos. Here's an example. So these are the ones that I picked up at the National. This is the back of Dita Von Teese. This was a one of one. And you'll see it says pre-production proof special preview edition. Here's another one, Elijah Wood. And on this one, again, it says special preview edition. It has a little bit more of kind of a header card background. But when we get to these official release ones, and we turn that over, now we have a description of the artist, a little more of what we're used to expecting. Sorry if the mic faded out there as I was turned away from the mic, putting the other cards back. But more of the expected official design there, with the description, details which decades it's from. But Debbie Gibson, I know some diehard Debbie Gibson fans, and a one of one will certainly pique their attention. All right, there's our 80s. So we went through our 60s and we went through our 80s. Now we've got two 90s packs to go through. Let's see what we got there. I didn't, I should have probably looked at the full checklist, not checklist, but full signers list, and see who's all in there. Oh, Cuba Gooding Jr., actor. Gained fame in the 1990s with his roles in Jerry Maguire and Men of Honor, winning an Oscar and establishing a successful acting career. To this day, I know many men who quote lines from Jerry Maguire. It was a fantastic movie for any sports enthusiast. Very quotable. Show me the money. Let's take a look. There you go. Our one-on-one of Cuba Gooding Jr. Another interesting background, a little bit different. So it's I like that this one is more of just a metallic, kind of a hollow background versus the Debbie Gibson had those little prism balls in there. So I like how they vary those. Gives you a little special flavor on each card, and obviously that's what you need to have a one of one, right? All right, we're down to our last pack. Wild card decades, one of one. Who do we got here? We know we already got our two autos out of our two boxes. Tracy Bingham. Now that's a name that I am not familiar with. I recognize the name, like I've heard it before. I couldn't tell you what she's from without reading the rest of the back. Rose to prominence in the 1990s as a cast member on Baywatch with the Hoff, known for her role as a lifeguard and her appearances in entertainment media. Let's take a look at Tracy Bingham. Okay, yep, now I remember. I didn't watch a lot of Baywatch, but I do remember the commercials. So we've got our one of one. We've got that metallic hollow background, but in this one we kind of have the laser prismatic effect for for the refractor presence on there. Hopefully you can see that as I tilt the card back and forth. Yeah, there you go. You can see those lasers in there. And they're squares, basically, is the lasers. So there is our fifth card from our second box. So just to go through these again, in the 60s, we have John Provost. We have William Shatner. We have another William Shatner, a different design. And we have, well, I'll save the autos for the end. And then in the 70s, we have Eric Estrada, Ponch from Chips fame. Then in the 80s, we have Debbie Gibson. Debbie Gibson from the 80s. And then we have 3 90s cards. We have Marissa Tomei. We have Tracy Bingham. And Cuba Gooding Jr. All one of ones and very unique flavor on each of them. Then our 2 autos. We have Bob Eubanks from the 60s. The Dating Game. Was it the Dating Game or the Newlywed Game? I think it was the Newlywed Game that I remember him from. He could have been on both though. And then definitely my favorite pull out of the 2 boxes, the 80s Chevy Chase auto. That is an amazing pull for me as someone who watches Christmas Vacation every single year. I watch Caddyshack every couple of years. I really enjoy the humor of Chevy Chase. I probably watch the original Fletch movie once every 5 years too. Like, he has a number of movies that I will pull out on a rainy day when I just want to chill out on the couch and watch some TV. So that is, to me, definitely the biggest hit in these 2 boxes. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Feel free to comment. In fact, I'd love to see you comment on what you think of these boxes. Like I said, $80 a box. So let me know if you think there is value in these boxes. Again, 5 packs in each box, 5 one-of-ones. They're all one-of-ones, and then 1 auto per box. Really fun. I'm a reseller, so a lot of these I will look to resell out there in the market, but I may keep that Chevy Chase myself. So we'll see how we do in the secondary market with these. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on these. Like and subscribe if you enjoy these rips. We love doing them with you. It's always good to share some of these rips with everybody else. So that's it for this one. Until next time, peace out. Take care of each other.